Hi everyone, my name is Banu and welcome back to Space Everyday. Today we are going to learn about SpaceX's Starship, its variants, its use and its mass and thrust. So let's get started.
3, 2, 1.
This video is a bit long, so if you want to learn about a specific part of the Starship, check out the timestamps in the description. Starship is being developed by SpaceX and is intended to carry about 100 humans to Mars, refuel on Mars and come back to the Earth. Starship is fully reusable and can be used over and over again with rapid refurbishment. It will be carried to the upper parts of the atmosphere of the Earth by the booster Super Heavy and will separate. After separating, the booster will perform a boost back burn which will change its trajectory to the launch pad. The Super Heavy has grid fins which will guide the booster and keep it stable using air. And the second stage or Starship will boost itself into LEO or low Earth orbit. A few minutes after the boost back burn of the Super Heavy, it will come near the launch pad and start its landing burn. But it doesn't land. SpaceX's initial plan was to land the booster, but their plans have changed. But I think they have made it more complicated. Now, their plan is to catch the booster using the launch tower. Remember the grid fins we learned about just a minute ago? The launch tower will have arms which will catch the booster with its grid fins. But that means the grid fins should handle a lot of weight, which in turn means that the grid fins should be very strong since the booster, even with empty tanks, weighs about 100 tons. This is just another crazy idea of Elon Musk, but SpaceX is not the only company which is going to try to catch rockets from the air. Rocket Lab is also trying to catch their booster with a helicopter. The booster will have a parachute and it will slow down in the air and then a helicopter will come and catch it and fly away. In the 1960s, NASA had an idea to catch the Saturn V's ginormous first stage with a helicopter with blades which are 100 meters long. But they did not do it since it needed a lot of engineering and money. So let's get back to Starship. To catch the Super Heavy with the launch pad, SpaceX would need a lot of precision unlike the Falcon 9 booster, which gets a lot of space to land because the booster should be exactly over the launch pad and should slowly come down. It is not completely impossible because unlike the Falcon 9's first stage, Super Heavy has the ability to hover and change its direction. Hovering means to not move anywhere and be stationary in the air. The Falcon 9's first stage does not have that ability because even when only one out of its 9 Merlin engines is set to its minimum throttle, it is just too powerful for the first stage. That is why the booster should ignite its engines at the very specific time so that the booster reaches zero altitude at zero velocity. But the Super Heavy booster need not land and it can hover. so it may be possible or SpaceX might change their plans. Super Heavy will have 28 to 36 Raptor engines. The inner engines will be able to gimbal and the outer engines won't be able to gimbal. When the engines gimbal, the nozzle changes direction and the rocket tilts to a specific direction, as you can see. At liftoff, all the engines together will be producing a total thrust of 76,000 kilonewtons or about 7.7 million kilograms of force, which is insane because even the biggest and the most powerful rocket in history, the Saturn V, produced 3.4 million kilograms of force. And if you compare these two, the Super Heavy produces more force than twice the amount of force the Saturn V generated. And moreover, the Super Heavy is reusable and can be reused a lot of times. The booster, when fully fueled, will weigh about 3.5 kilotons or 3,500 tons. It will be 72 meters tall or as tall as a 21-story building. And remember that all of these stats are just for the first stage and can be increased or decreased. So now let's learn about the Starship on the second stage. The second stage is also known as Starship, and once the Super Heavy drains most of its fuel and separates, the Starship will ignite its engines and continue to boost itself into a stable orbit. Once it reaches a stable orbit, it will not go anywhere because its tanks are not full. Once the Starship reaches orbit, the next step is to refuel the second stage with another Starship, which will mostly be launched on the same Super Heavy booster that has launched on the Starship that needs to be refueled. The Starship with the fuel will not have humans and will be a tanker variant of the Starship. Once they dock to each other and the Starship is refueled, the tanker Starship will return to the Earth and will land safely. And the Starship that has been refueled will go wherever it is intended to go. The Starship might have 5 variants. They are the Crew Starship, which will carry humans to low Earth orbit or to Mars, the Tanker Starship, which will just carry fuel and will be used to refuel the Starship in low Earth orbits. The third variant is the Cargo Starship, which will deploy satellites and experiments into their intended orbits. This variant will open its fairing to deploy the satellites. It will have about 1000 cubic meters of free space, which is equal to about 13 5-bedroom apartments. The next variant is the lunar variant, which will go to the moon. It might be used in NASA's Artemis program by 2024. If you want to know more about the Artemis program, please watch my other video, which is on the top right of your screen. And the last variant is the Earth Starship, which will carry humans from a place on the Earth to another place on the Earth itself very quickly. For example, a normal aeroplane takes 21.5 hours to travel from London to Sydney. But with the Starship, it takes just about 50 minutes. It also has the chance to put some airlines out of business. Now let's come to the most interesting and the craziest part of Starship's second stage. You might have seen rockets land vertically like this, But have you seen it translate to a vertical position from a horizontal position? This is called the belly flop maneuver. While entering the Earth's atmosphere or even Mars' atmosphere, the Starship will point its heat shield forward and will enter pointing about 15 to 25 degrees up. This way, while landing, the velocity will be low because there is more surface area giving lift. If you enter the atmosphere with the nose cone pointing forward, you will not slow down because the nose is pointy and has less surface area and it is aerodynamically friendly. So more the surface area, the more lift you get. But the hard part in landing the Starship is that it should translate to a vertical position while it is close to the ground so that the engines will be pointing retrograde, which will reduce the velocity of the Starship so it can land slowly and softly. Right now, Starship's prototypes are translating to a vertical position by gimballing their engine, but once developed, the Starship may use high-power hot gas thrusters to translate to a vertical position. For more control while in the atmosphere, the Starship uses fins or as everyday astronaut and most other people call it, the Elonerons. For control, they change their position by using electric Tesla motors which are also used in the electric vehicles of Tesla. SpaceX have been testing the Starship by creating small prototypes of it. Some did small halves, while some flew about 10 kilometers and did the belly flop. The prototypes which did this are SN8, SN9, SN10, SN11 and SN15. SN means Starship number. All of these had 3 Raptor engines. SN8 did not land because while landing the engines did not ignite properly. The same happened with SN9 and finally the SN10 landed in one piece.
A few minutes later.
Start dumping footage, don't we? We need to start dumping footage. Oh god, it just blew up. It just blew up. It just blew up. What?
But it did not remain in one piece because it blew up about 8 minutes after landing, which means it in turn flew 2 times as you can see. SN11 was launched in a very foggy situation and it also blew up while landing. We could not see it because the visibility was too low. And finally, SN15, which had major upgrades regarding the Raptor engines and hardware, landed in one piece and remained in one piece unlike the SN10. Right now, the SN15 is undergoing tests on the launch pad so that it can be launched again. The fully developed Starship will have 6 engines, out of which 3 engines are optimized for sea level and the other 3 are optimized for the vacuum of space. The vacuum engines will not be able to gimbal because there will be very little space. The engines will be able to produce 12,000 kilonewtons of thrust or 1.2 million kilograms of force. The Starship, when fully fueled, will weigh about 1,320 tons. When not fueled, it will weigh about 120 tons. It is 50 meters high, which is equal to a 15-story building. Now let's learn about the Starship rocket, or as SpaceX calls it, the Starship system, which is the Super Heavy and the Starship combined. The rocket, when fully fueled and with maximum payload, weighs about 5 kilotons or 5,000 tons. It will be 120 meters high, which is equal to a 36-story building. It will have a diameter of 9 meters. It can carry more than 100 tons to LEO, 21 tons to geostationary transfer orbit, and 100 tons to 200 tons to the moon. It uses only methane and oxygen as fuel. For refueling on the Mars, the Starship will have instruments which can convert carbon dioxide into oxygen through the oxidizer. You might ask, how will they get methane? Methane is basically one carbon atom and 4 hydrogen atoms, or CH4. Carbon is very easy to get on Mars since most of the atmosphere is carbon dioxide, and for the hydrogen they will use ice. Ice will be converted into water and water is H2O, so we can get hydrogen for methane and oxygen for oxidizer as well. Starship is a reusable launch system, can be used as intercontinental transport, space tourism, Earth to Moon transport, Mars colonization, which is a dream of Elon, and can also be used as multiplanetary transport. That is it for today. Please like, share and subscribe for more. Thank you.